British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has revealed that he has been infected by the coronavirus. On Thursday night, Johnson joined the nation in applauding workers in the National Health Service. After receiving the positive test result, he posted a video in which he said that he will be isolating himself, but that he will continue to lead the nation's response to the pandemic.
Hi folks, I want to bring you up to speed with something that's happening today, which is that I've developed mild symptoms of the coronavirus. That's to say, a temperature and a persistent cough. And on the advice of the chief medical officer, I've taken a test that has come out positive. So I am working from home. I'm self-isolating.
Let's get more. We are joined by our correspondent, Birgit Maas, in London. So, Birgit, we have it there. Britain's Prime Minister infected by the coronavirus. What does this mean now going forward, and especially when it comes to his ability to govern at this crucial time for the country?
Well, yes, Sarah, we've just had in the message that you played from Boris Johnson that he is aiming to continue to lead the country and lead the fight against coronavirus. But we do know that if he does become unwell, then it would be the Foreign Secretary, Dominic Raab, who would take over. But at the moment, we don't see any signs of this just yet. But we're probably also at the beginning of the Prime Minister's suffering from the virus. So he's saying he has mild symptoms at the moment, so he can probably still continue to lead the country. But if he should deteriorate, then it would be Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab taking over. He's also saying that he's self-isolating. What we don't know is whether he's still living together with his fiancée, who is several months pregnant. And of course, the advice is that women who are pregnant should be very, very careful not protecting themselves from the virus.
We're looking at pictures here. We know Boris Johnson was seen in the House of Commons as recently as Wednesday, Birgit. Are there concerns that other members of Parliament, staff, also that they might have been exposed now to this virus?
Well, yes, of course, those concerns will be and have already been raised in Westminster over the last weeks when the virus was accelerating, especially in London. And there were several MPs who had said we should really not sit anymore. We should go home and we should not be all cooped up in the really quite narrow chamber of the House of Commons. However, in the last weeks, MPs had spaced out more. Only a few were present, for example, at the last Prime Minister's questions on Monday, when normally the House of Commons is very packed. So they have already started isolating to a certain extent. But critics will say that should have happened much earlier in order to just prevent more MPs then going out into their constituencies and spreading the virus further.
And this is not the only high-profile case. In addition to Johnson, we also have Prince Charles there in the UK, who has also tested positive for the coronavirus. Is the virus potentially more widespread than people are aware there?
That would be the suspicion. Officially, I think it's just over 11,000 cases that have been confirmed in the UK. I think most people will by now know someone who has contracted the virus, know someone personally, and many people are frankly quite frightened about how widespread this already is and how it could be developing over the next days. Working on the assumption that the peak is going to hit, especially London, in the next couple of weeks, the peak of the coronavirus crisis. But we also know that hospitals are already, and especially in London, are already overstretched. So even though it's a very sunny day and the mood on the surface might be quite good for Londoners and for people in the UK, underneath, I think a lot of people are frankly quite scared.
Birgit Maas in London. Thank you, Birgit. Well, the presidents of the U.S. and China appear to have resolved their feud, meantime, over which of their countries started the coronavirus pandemic. After President Trump talked about the Chinese virus, as he called it, China's foreign ministry suggested that it had been brought to China by the U.S. military. Now, Presidents Trump and Xi have spoken on the phone, and they have agreed to work together to fight the pandemic. Also, the Chinese province of Hubei, where the coronavirus pandemic began, has reported no new cases since lifting its lockdown and reopening its borders on Wednesday. But a team at the London School of Hygiene and Tropical Medicine has warned that the capital, Wuhan, which remains under lockdown for another 2 weeks, that an overly hasty relaxation of restrictions there could increase the chances of a new wave of infections. As the people of Hubei get out and about again, they are counting the cost of the lockdown.
Opening the fortress. The ancient fortifications at the heart of Jinzhou city are usually buzzing with tourists, particularly now in spring. But even though people are freer to go out than before, there's not much going on. And that's creating the next worry for those living and working there.
The first half of the year is the season for flower blossoms. Many people come out to see the flowers. They take photos and have fun. The first half of this year is supposed to be the peak tourism season, but the coronavirus will definitely have a big impact on us.
The cities in Hubei province, now a byword for the pandemic.
Just look, there are so few people. Those from outside will not come here for a holiday. Now Hubei is the hardest hit area and no one dares to come. When they know you're from Hubei, they all keep away from you. They're scared.
She said she'd spent the equivalent of 2 months' rent on food for her stall, but that she wasn't able to sell it or even eat it herself during the lockdown. And it had all gone rotten.
I had a relatively smooth opening today. Some girls bought 6 corn cobs for me at once. This is the first business for me this year. It's good because there aren't many people around after the outbreak. This is big money for a small business owner.
The hope is that the streets will quickly fill up again with people and that the hardships endured during the days of Fortress Jinzhou will soon be history.
And here are some more of the latest developments in the coronavirus pandemic. 3 months into the outbreak, and the total number of confirmed cases has passed 500,000, with more than 24,000 deaths. Spain has seen a record one-day rise in fatalities, with 769 people dying in 24 hours. The death toll is now more than 4,800. Indonesia, South Africa, and Russia have all passed 1,000 confirmed cases, that mark. Meantime, in Russia, the government has ordered all cafes and restaurants to close for a week.